In September 2017, the remaining operational nuclear power station on the Dungeness Peninsula in Kent was coming to the end of its working life. The site was to have become the home of the world's first nuclear propulsion laboratory and would have replaced Cape Canaveral in leading the drive towards the manned exploration of deep space. However, for reasons which remain unknown to the scientific community and the world at large, the leader of the project and the pioneer of nuclear propulsion technology mysteriously abandoned the project a few days after it had been officially granted government backing, claiming that the technology was dangerously flawed and could not be used. 25 years later, the world's leading scientists reached the consensus that mankind would forever be limited to the Terran system, unable to survive the enormous distances between Earth and even our nearest star, Proxima Centauri, an estimated journey of 25,000 years through hazardous cosmic radiation. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Harry Sullivan, and this is the story of our ceaseless journey to find new worlds and new civilizations, and how it took us to a place we never thought possible. Transdimensional Research Laboratory, TERL or TERL, Dungeness A Station, January 2042. We had been experimenting with the old Magnox legacy reactor at Dungeness A for the past 10 years, and had finally managed to adapt it to generate incredible power from the lethal radioactive waste slowly decaying away inside. It was an amazing accomplishment. I never understood why Dr. Nathan Gunning had so quickly abandoned his attempts to start a new era of space travel here, but it didn't matter anymore. We had managed to open a doorway to other dimensions, a portal to seemingly impossible worlds, coexisting side by side with our own. We had already sent 15 test probes through the transdimensional corridor, although we could never send back any images from the other side because of powerful electromagnetic interference. However, our temperature and atmosphere sensors did send back readings that suggested that our probes had travelled to other Earths, similar to our own. We could only conjecture at what possible alternative realities we might have discovered had we actually gone there ourselves. On the 5th of January 2042, I made my way through freezing weather conditions across the forbidding expanse of shingle towards the brightly illuminated TERL site, which emitted an eerie low hum that reverberated across the empty landscape for miles. Ever since I had first come to Dungeness 25 years ago, I had been haunted by the unearthly desolation of this place. It seemed somehow appropriate that this alien domain was to be the beginning of our first journey into one of the mysterious, unknown worlds that lay on the other side of our dimensional gateway. I entered the B station, where we had built our transdimensional gateway, above the old gas-cooled reactor that once operated there, now providing power for the signal boosting equipment required to transmit data through the portal. As I walked down the clinical, white corridors, my footsteps echoed sharply in my ears. From one of the doors on the left-hand side, my colleague stepped out and greeted me with an excited smile. "Morning, sir," he said to me, smiling like a Cheshire cat. "Today's the day, right? We're actually going to travel through the portal ourselves, discover new worlds and new civilizations and all that." I told him he had been watching too much Star Trek, but that, essentially, he was right. He informed me that our vehicle, a bizarre sort of spacecraft cum Land Rover type thing, was ready and had been reinforced to cope with anything that any new reality could throw at us. Major Danielson had designed it himself. He described it as the ultimate vehicle for any time and any place. I was confident that he knew what he was doing. Not only was he a close friend, but he had also graduated from Oxford with a first-class degree in engineering. I sat down in the briefing room with the crew that would accompany me on mankind's first mission to a parallel world. I remember the conversation we had as though it were yesterday. "This is a historic day for all of us," I said. "Our mission is to find new homes for mankind, countless new worlds where future generations can settle. This world may be in danger of overpopulation, but if we succeed, our grandchildren will look back on us as the pioneers of a new chapter in the story of humanity." The truth was, there were only two other places we could have gone, the Moon and Mars. However, the Moon was a cold, airless rock with no atmosphere, and the Martian atmosphere did not contain enough oxygen to successfully support human life. We knew that we would first need to perfect the technology to terraform the red planet before we could colonize it. NASA had already started work on a project to do just that. They had dispatched a manned mission to the planet, whose goal was to start work on one area of Mars, Cydonia. However, the craft and its crew would take just over a year to reach the planet, and far longer to make it entirely habitable. Our project seemed to the world's governments to be the perfect alternative solution. I often thought that it would come down to some kind of consumer choice: go to Mars or relocate to an alternative Earth. "We don't know what we'll find," Major Danielson said, "so be prepared for anything, literally. The Continuum Explorer will keep us safe from any adverse environmental conditions we encounter, but just in case anything happens to us, I've adjusted the audio-visual data link to the laboratory so that it should finally work properly and capture a permanent record for our guys back here of everything we say, do and see on the mission." We sat inside the Continuum Explorer on a specially constructed platform in front of our gateway device. The portal entrance itself was a thick ring of metal, with heavy bundles of cabling running around it. The inside of the ring was lined with electromagnetic emitters, which helped to open the rift in space-time that we had depended upon for the success of our project. We didn't know how the rift had come to be here. Shortly after the decommission of both power stations, during the preparation work for the nuclear propulsion project, we discovered an electromagnetic anomaly inside the reactor hall of the B station. We theorized that some random particle event had occurred inside the reactor, and it might have been the cause, but none of us could say for sure. The gateway was activated, and the reactor hall filled with a blinding whitish-blue light. With an explosion of energy, a swirling blue-grey vortex appeared in front of us. Its mirror-like surface appeared to bubble randomly like the surface of the ocean. I gave the order for a systems check. "Dynamorphic shield generator active," Major Danielson said. "Thrusters ignited and ready. Environmental control systems functioning." "Gentlemen," I said, "good luck to all of you." A message came over the cockpit radio. "This is Mission Control to the Continuum Explorer. Guys, good luck and Godspeed. We'll see you soon." "Roger that," said the Major, looking at me with that infectious smile of his. "Well," I said, "what are you waiting for? Let's go."